Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Kung Fury, film. Kung Fury is a 2015 English-language Swedish martial arts action comedy short film written and directed by David Sandberg. It pays homage to 1980s martial arts and police action films. The film stars Sandberg in the title role, Jorma Taccone, Leopold Nilsson, and a cameo appearance by David Hasselhoff. The film was crowdfunded through Kickstarter from December 2013 to January 2014, with pledges reaching $630,019, exceeding the original target goal of $200,000, but short of the feature film goal of $1 million. It was selected to screen in the Directors Fortnight section at the 2015 Cannes Film Festival, losing to Rate Me from the United Kingdom. Plot. Sometime in the early 1980s, Miami-Dade Police Department Detective Kung Fury and his partner Dragon apprehend a red ninja in a back alley, but Dragon is sliced in half by the ninja while Kung Fury is suddenly struck by lightning and bitten by a cobra, giving him extraordinary kung fu powers that enable him to defeat his foe. Years later in 1985, after defeating a rogue arcade machine robot, Kung Fury quits the force when he is assigned to partner with Triceracop, fearing that he would lose another partner in the line of duty. Meanwhile, Adolf Hitler, aka Kung Fury, enters the timeline and remotely guns down the police chief and attacks the precinct through a mobile phone. Intent to avenge the chief, Kung Fury has computer whiz Hackman send him back in time to kill Hitler in Nazi Germany. A glitch in the system, however, sends him back into the Viking Age. After Kung Fury meets the Viking Valkyries Barbrianna and Katana, the Norse god Thor sends him to Nazi Germany for him to finish his job. Upon his arrival, Kung Fury single-handedly mows down dozens of Nazi soldiers with his kung fu skills, but is gunned down by Hitler using a Gatling-type gun from inside his podium. Suddenly, Thor, Hackman, Triceracop, the Viking babes, and a Tyrannosaurus hack into the timeline and kill the rest of the Nazi army while the Tyrannosaurus squares off against Hitler's robotic Reichsadler. After being revived by Hackman, Kung Fury gives Hitler an uppercut before Thor drops his hammer on the Nazi leader and his robotic eagle. Seeing his mission as accomplished, Kung Fury returns to his timeline. Back in 1985 Miami, Kung Fury once again battles and defeats the arcade machine robot, but notices a swastika on the robot's body while Hitler and his Reichsadler enter the timeline, vowing revenge on Kung Fury. Production. David Sandberg is a Swedish filmmaker who has directed television commercials and music videos. In 2012, he quit the commercial directing business and focused on writing a script for an action comedy film set in the 1980s, inspired by action films of that era. He initially spent $5,000 on producing and shooting footage with his friends, which became the trailer. In December 2013, Sandberg released the trailer and began a Kickstarter campaign to crowdfund the film's production, with the goal of raising $200,000 to produce a 30-minute version of the film and stream it online for free. A second goal was added, with the target set to $1 million to rewrite the story into a full-length feature and a possible distribution deal. Most of the raw footage over green screen had been filmed using a Canon EOS 5D Mark III and a Sony FS700, but additional funding was required for post-production. The Kickstarter project ended on the 25th of January 2014, with $630,019 pledged by 17,713 backers. Filming. Due to a limited budget, Sandberg shot the majority of the film at his office in Umeå, Sweden, using digital effects to replicate the streets of Miami. As he could only afford one police uniform during the production of the trailer, he filmed the police precinct scene by shooting each extra separately and compositing them in the scene. The single-shot scene, where Kung Fury dispatches dozens of Nazi soldiers, was achieved by combining the primary take of Sandberg's moves with over 60 takes of individual extras attacking him. On the 30th of July 2014, Sandberg announced that he and his crew had begun filming new footage, with the 30 backers who pledged to be in the film as extras. Filming was also done in Stockholm for additional scenes and stunts. For the scene with Barbriania riding a giant wolf, Sandberg used stock footage of a black wolf from the website Green Screen Animals, as sourcing a real wolf was impossible in Sweden. Miniatures were used in Kung Fu's fight scenes involving the arcade machine robot and the Red Ninja. The animated Heaven sequence was produced by French video game developer Old Skull Games. In keeping with the film's 80s theme, the visual effects artists softened the film clarity and added videotape wear effects to give the illusion of it being a worn VHS copy being played on an old VCR. One instance of this effect is in the scene where the Viking babe Katana summons Thor. The scene was in the trailer with Joanna Hagblom originally as Katana, but because Hagblom was replaced by Helene Olsen for the actual film, visual scratches and distortion effects were added to the scene to mask the cast change. Soundtrack. The soundtrack score is composed by Swedish synthwave musicians Mitch Murder and Lost Years, with additional music by Patrick Öberg, Christopher Ling, Highway Superstar, and Betamax. The official soundtrack album was released on vinyl record on the 8th of July 2015. Release. The film made its debut at the 2015 Cannes Film Festival and premiered on YouTube, the Steam PC gaming platform, SVT2 in Sweden, and the El Rey Network in the United States, on the 28th of May 2015. By the 1st of June, the film had received over 10 million views on YouTube. The video has scored over 26 million views on YouTube. The film has also been made available on vote platforms through a distribution deal with Under the Milky Way. Critical reception. Kung Fury was met with positive reviews from critics and audiences alike. Tyler Richardson of Latino Review gave the film an A, commenting that, "What Black Dynamite got so perfect about blaxploitation films, this does wonderfully for 80s cop movies." Johnny Bunning of Bloody Disgusting gave the film a score of 3.5 out of 5 skulls, saying that Kung Fury is the Avengers Assemble if it had been made in the 90s. Todd Brown of Twitch Film also praised the film, calling it a 30-minute-long, non-stop assault of some of the most astounding visual gags ever assembled in one place. Kung Fury knows its audience, knows it damn well, and while it has little to offer to anyone outside of its particular niche, for people within that niche this is absolute gold. Scott Weinberg of Nerdist Industries called it a 31-minute masterpiece that feels like it fell right out of 1985 and hit just about every awesome B-movie genre on the way down. Melissa Locker of Vanity Fair praised the film, jokingly calling it the best movie ever. Of course. Video game. Kung Fury: Street Rage is the companion video game to the film published by Hello There Ab, paying homage to classic beat-em-up games such as Streets of Rage, Double Dragon, and Final Fight. Though the actual gameplay mostly resembles One-Finger Death Punch by Silver Dollar Games, with the player pressing left or right of the character to attack in either direction. It is available on PSN for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita, Google Play, App Store, Windows Store, and Steam. An upgraded version of the game, titled Kung Fury: Street Rage The Arcade Strikes Back, was released on Steam and PlayStation 4 in December 2015. The game features additional boss fights and enables players to fight as Kung Fury's allies Triceracop, Barbriana, and Hackerman. Future. On the 28th of May 2016 it was announced on the Laser Unicorns Facebook page that Kung Fury 2 the movie is in development. Sandberg is currently working with producers Seth Grahame-Smith and David Katzenberg on a full-length feature film version of Kung Fury. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, he stated that the project would be a clean slate, containing no footage from the short film, but taking place in the same universe. In February 2018, Michael Fassbender and Arnold Schwarzenegger were confirmed to star alongside Hasselhoff in the upcoming film. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?